Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are finally going the next stop in the Road to Montana series, but it's slightly different because while we are looking at the Iowa, we're also looking at the Iowa in my press account. Well, okay, so here's the deal. I just don't have the blueprints to spare for another tier 9 and 10 progression. Plus, I would have to spend some time grinding, and I'm currently busy grinding the Hindenburg. I am making a lot of progress in the Pan-Asian Destroyer line, and I've just burned through a lot of blueprints for the Lyon, which, okay, is one lower, but still, I am severely short on blueprints in my personal account, so I figured, okay, I am not necessarily a huge fan of the American battleships so far, and I really want to complete the series, so we're doing it a press account. Anyway, same setup though. So I haven't played the Iowa. I have just, well, I've just put all the blueprints in and put the elite bonus in, and that's that. But I have never played the ship, so we'll get first impression and first game of the ship. So same as usual. Anyway, Iowa class battleship, the last really big battleship that the Americans built, and fast battleship really. And yeah, she's significantly larger than the North Carolina at tier 8. And these things, well, she had one of the most amazing careers. We could be sitting here for hours talking about the stuff the Iowa has been doing. She's been present in the Bay of Tokyo during the Japanese surrender. She's been present in battle in the Philippines and almost got to shoot at the at Kurita's center force during the battle, if they hadn't been turned away by the escort carriers before that. She's been busy in the Korean War. She's been fighting in the Gulf War. She's been modernized many times. She's a museum ship today. So yeah, I think we can tell a lot of stories about the Iowa. So I figure I'll tell one that's probably a little less widely known and uncommon. So the guns. Yes, I know we're going on about that again. When the ship was designed, they had certain problems to fit the things that they wanted into the design that they were finalizing, and there were two government offices involved in designing the ship: the Bureau of Ordnance, that was dealing with the guns, the turrets, and the Bureau of Construction, that was dealing with the hull that the guns and turrets would have been fit in. Now, if we're going back to the North Carolina had the 406 L45 Mark 6 guns. So these were 45 caliber length guns, but the designers wanted to have a 50 caliber length gun for the Iowa. But then they continued working on a 50 caliber length gun with a large barbette. And the 45 caliber length gun that the Bureau of Construction was considering had a smaller barbette. So they built smaller barbettes, figuring that the Bureau of Ordnance was going to come up with a 50 caliber length gun that would fit it. Well, they didn't. So nobody noticed that until the design was finalized. And this is the classic build a bridge from two ends and have the meet in the middle problem, when it turns out that at the point in time when you meet in the middle, the bridge is, well, 2 meters apart. So the guns that the initial guns and turrets that the Bureau of Ordnance was designing would not fit in the smaller barbette rings that the Bureau of Construction was designing. So they almost had to scrap the whole Iowa design and start over again. But fortunately, somebody in the Bureau of Ordnance actually managed to redesign a 50 caliber length gun in a turret that was small enough that it would fit in the smaller barbettes that the Bureau of Construction had designed. And that's how we got the Mark 7 turrets in these things. Anyway, enough stories. We'll probably be talking about Iowas and Iowa class at some more pure history video time. But let's have a quick look. So, if we... Actually, let's compare her to the North Carolina. Let me just take the camo off of that thing. And yeah, so the North Carolinas and the Iowa next to each other. The Iowa has better citadel protection. it has more hit points, and it has better fire and flooding resistance. So all in all, while this is a massively bigger ship, I mean, the Iowa is almost 50 meters longer than the North Carolina. She does get a bit better protection, especially the fire and flooding resistance is quite interesting. And I do have a different elite bonus in here. Other than that, maneuverability and speed-wise, yeah, the Iowa is a bit less maneuverable than the North Carolinas, but not much. And she's quicker. So North Carolina goes 26 knots and the Iowa goes 31. Well, they did have to, that was the whole purpose, to make these things fast enough to escort light carriers. That's why fast battleship. Yeah, the guns, as we mentioned, are the L50 Mark 7 guns, not the 45 length. So hopefully they are a bit punchier, and well, we'll see about the dispersion. But other than that, you get a slightly longer range, but for some reason the values are completely identical. Other than that, if I see that correctly, yeah, you get longer range, and the North Carolina is with the range elite bonus still. This one isn't. So you do get a longer base range, 14.7 kilometers. Secondaries, we got 10 twin sets. This is the exact same. Yeah. These are the exact same secondaries. So pretty much the same guns and same secondaries, on paper at least, from the values we can see. Okay. AA, American battleships, so it's going to be good. And yes, the small caliber AA on the Iowa is significantly better than on the North Carolina, which, given that she's a tier 9, is probably a good thing. Surface detection is dreadful, obviously the Iowa being worse because she is, well, massively bigger than this thing. All right then, so how am I going to set this thing up for the first battle? Given this is a press account, I can just mess around with it and see if I like the setup later or not. Given that the North Carolina was a long-range ship, the Iowa seems a bit faster and slightly better protected, but still, I mean, we're getting into tier 10 battles. We're fighting things like Yamatos. So I'm probably going to stick with the Mod 2 and play her at long range for starters. Because the alternative, I mean, she's not there for a secondary build. The artillery plotting room might be interesting, because it increases main battery range and secondary battery range as well. Or the main battery Mod 2 for this dispersion. Actually, let's try this out. Again, press account, we can just mess around with it. Let's try it out. Second slot, I'm not going to put the deck protection mod anymore in, because she has such a great fire and flooding resistance that it actually makes sense to buff this even further. So we're going to do that, and we're going to put steering in 3. So with the elite bonus, which you can either use range or fire flooding resistance 15%. So if we double up on that, we're building a damage over time tank build. We get that to almost 38%. Which is now not just the chance of not being set on fire, but also the actual reduction of the damage you're taking from fire. Now we're combining that with our commander, and I've set him up the exact same way as I had on the North Carolina in my personal account, so the same on the first two. We do get the artillery maintenance. Victorious charge makes sense. I have him on survivalist to get more HP recovered instead of the fire supremacy, which would give us an additional rapid reload. I think you can do both, but on the North Carolina, I kind of felt the need for that. So this is a full-on tank build. We also, the generalist gives us additional fire flooding resistance, repair kit cooldown time, and extinguisher. So we are a complete damage over time tank build and survivability build on this thing. Supplies-wise, what are we going to stick in? Standard stuff. These 3, there we go. Nothing special. And yeah, camo, we're just going to sail with Seaborne Assault. The historical camo is your standard battleship setup, dispersion, range, and hit points, which is all good things. But it's a tier 9. Would you spend? I mean, this thing costs what, 5,000 gold? I wouldn't, not unless I really, really like a tier 9. And usually tier 9s are not. Tier 9s are there, so you have something to entertain you while you're grinding to tier 10. Let me put it that way. All right. Here we go. This is the Iowa. Now, my very first time playing the Iowa. I mean, I have played the Missouri, but my very first time to playing the actual Iowa. Let's see how this goes. And here we are, in the very, very first battle in the Iowa. We're bottom tier, and this is going to be an absolute slaughter. Because look at the matchmaking. we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legendary players on the left side, and the enemy team is just going to be absolutely stomped into the ground. This really needs to be fixed in the matchmaking, in my opinion. You can't throw people in like this. Like half of our team should have been on the other side. Okay, what do we have? It's a carrier battle, and we've got 2 Shimakazes on the enemy team. So what am I going to do? I'm going to sail right flank. I'm probably going to sail into one of the Shimas, but it is a carrier battle, so I want to, what is that, daring. I want to give air cover to this daring over here. Because, you know, that's what American ships are good for, air cover. I know, I should probably be staying at maximum range, but trust me, I probably am. Because if there's any indication, the enemy team's going to be probably sailing around their own cap circle back there. And I do want to have range. You see, my range currently reaches to that island over there. So I do want to be a little bit positioned a little bit further ahead. Plus, I'm on the right flank, so I don't really have anything to fear from the right side. I don't get crossfired. Okay, there's a Shima. Now I do have obviously the armor piercing loaded. He's under air attack, so I am going to send some shots out and just to see what's happening. Because you know you get lucky, you get one full pen, and that's a third of the Shima gone. There's a battleship over there, but I think there's the enemy Iowa, but I don't have a clear shot, so I can't really see where he is. Oh, there's a Yamato. Okay, I do want to slow down a little bit just to make sure that there come the Shima torps, but these were blind torps. This is the Asian server. Everybody loves their blind torps here. They actually hit home in the friendly Shimakaze. But I do want to keep the speed up, and yeah, there come the torpedo bombers. So giving air cover to the destroyers as much as I can. And being shot at by the Yamato, and Yamato hurts. Can I hurt him back? Not really. There's the semi-pens. There's the Shima. Shima's running away. He should be out of torpedoes for now. But I don't want to get any closer to that Yama over there. And I am getting a couple of hits in, I think, from the sides as well. So I'm slowing down and just healing up a little bit. Yeah, Yamatos are tough, and if you're in a bottom tier game, this is usually a bit of a trouble. So I might be just too close here, but again, I've gone this far forward because I wanted to give the destroyers air cover, and now the Yamato has better things to do by dodging daring torps, and he's going to dodge all of those, I'm pretty sure, at this distance. But yeah, I can get some good penetrations in at the Yamato the further I get away with the plunging fire. So very heavy American shells. Let's see how that goes. Okay, another shot out. I do have to watch out for the Shima, but yeah, the carrier is dropping me, which is great because that means he's not dealing with our destroyers, which is exactly what I want in a ship like this. I want the carrier to focus on me because I can shoot down a fair amount of his aircraft, and yeah, there's the Shima again. So okay, one fire. I really don't care. Not with 30%. Was it 38% almost fire and flooding resistance? Couple more shots out at the Yama, and then we might have to deal with the Shima there. No hits. Yeah, one hit. 2 hits, 3, 4, okay. We're gonna take two carrier torps here, that's fine. No flood. Damage con would have been ready. Yamato comes under air attack. There comes some Shima torps. So I'm gonna have to kind of try and maneuver between those. Not super maneuverable, that ship, though. But I mean, I can see the Shima. He's right there. He's under air attack. I might have to actually do something about the Shima myself, because I don't think... I think the carrier is busy otherwise, and the friendly Shimas are not really doing very much either. So let's clear the pipes and then switch over to the high explosive. Just to... yeah, that's an overpen, obviously. And then our Shima goes stealth, which means there's going to be more Shima torps in the water. But Yamato has a destroyer rushing him, so he's busy. And yeah, the enemy team is just collapsing at this point. So I'm just going to be cruiser mode and deal with that Shima over there. Let's see what I can do at 7 kilometers. Blind shots. But yeah, keep the nose in towards. I don't actually want to be too close. And yeah, this thing is quick with over 30 knots. That is very, very refreshingly quick. But Shima should be reloaded by now. So I do have to wiggle the ship around a little bit to throw his aim off. I'm on 36,000 hit points, so unless he's rushing me, I don't think he has the health to rush me. There's I can take a couple torpedo hits in this thing, that's not a problem. Yeah, there comes some Shima torps. I'm just going to take a couple and see that I get my guns on point. And is that the end of Shima? Okay, I can probably dodge between these two. Oh, come on, he's on no health whatsoever. Okay, don't you dare, that's my kill. I've been eating torpedoes the whole time. Okay, rapid reload just in case these don't hit, but I think he's sailing in a straight line. Yeah, there he goes. Alright then. Yeah, impressions, first impressions. Well, kind of like I expected, Yama's hurt, and it's reasonably difficult to hurt them back. Long range fire is probably a good thing, but I like the handling of the ship. She's reasonably fast and probably maneuverable and fast enough to get into good positions from where to fire, and in the later deal with the occasional shimakaze if she has to, is what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a huge fan of ranged battleships personally, and in the upper tiers. I mean, I have my Großer Kurfürst, which is very much not a ranged battleship, but I haven't really enjoyed any of the other high tier ones. We'll see, maybe the French line's going to be something that's more fun. It's not a bad ship, this, don't get me wrong. I think I might enjoy this one more than the North Carolina, because the North Carolina really was a ship that was tricky to play and tricky to get ordnance on target with. The dispersion seems all right, so I may stick with the ranged mod for a little bit, and I'll play around with it a bit. And as usual, I'll do a follow-up video with a better review, because this was really just my first impression. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you. And yeah, going forward, next video is going to be me having actually a little bit of practice with the Iowa. And then we're doing the same thing with the Montana. So until then, have a good one. See ya. Bye-bye.